Good morning, everybody. It is me, Mrs. Holly. I am back. I hope you are all doing well on this fine day. Not sure what day it is. I hope you have your two screens open, one for your presentation and your workbook on the other side. Okay, we are going to look at types of government today. So we're going to learn the definition of different types and be able to describe different types of government. Oh, no homework. I love it when that happens. All right. Hopefully you're remembering, please, to submit your attendance. Don't forget that. All right. How many different types of government are you familiar with? All right, you can't type on this, but you can think about it. Maybe write a list. I don't know. Different types of government you can think of. All right, well, first thing, before we look at the types of government, we have to understand what government is. Okay, so we're on page 8 in your workbook. That was odd. All right, what government is? It is the system or group of people who make the laws, rules, and regulations for the benefit of the society. So you've either created a system or there is a group of people who make laws for the benefit of the society in which they live. Otherwise, everybody be running around doing whatever they wanted, and that could be dangerous. We don't want that. All right. Remember, you can stop the presentation if you need more time typing. You can stop it and start it whenever you want. All right, let's look at the purpose of government. Okay, purpose of government. Number one, governments make laws that protect people's rights and property in order to maintain order and stability. So the government is responsible for protecting your rights and protecting your property so that there is order and stability in your society. Okay. Now, the federal government is supposed to do that. The state government is supposed to do that. You've also got county governments, city governments. That's what they do. They're there to make sure everything is running smoothly, people's rights are protected, and there is peace and stability. Yay. Okay. Another job of the government. The government is responsible for defending the nation against any internal threats or external threats. External is easy to understand. The government protects us from people who might want to invade us or harm us in any way. Internal threats are a little bit different. Internal threats might be a group who don't like the idea of having the type of government we have, and they constantly threaten online that they're going to overthrow the government. That is an internal threat. Anybody who is working against the government is considered an internal threat. So the government is supposed to defend us against those threats. And lastly, the government is responsible for ensuring that the economic activity of the country is moving along smoothly. For the United States, this idea really didn't come about until the Great Depression. our president, Franklin Roosevelt, kind of established this idea that it really is our government's responsibility to take care of the country when the economy is bad. All right, so those are the purposes of government. Now what I want to do is look at 6 different types of government and one that's not a type of government. So you're going to be filling in page 9 in your workbook. So go to the next page, please. And we will get to that. All right. Types of government. All right. Our first one, a democracy. Why did I put it first? Because that's what kind of government we have. So what is a democracy? A democracy is a form of government where the power comes from the people. And there's 2 ways that that can happen. You can have a direct democracy where people vote for their leaders directly, or an indirect democracy where we choose elected representatives. So we vote for our own representatives to speak for us in the government. Our country is too big to have a direct democracy. If every eligible person had to vote on every single issue, we would never get anything done. So here in the United States, we do not have a direct democracy. We have an indirect democracy. We vote for representatives to speak for us in the government. And here I have our picture of our representatives. We have the Senate and the House of Representatives that make up Congress. You're going to learn more about that in U.S. history, so I'm not going to go into huge details. But you should know that the United States has a democratic government and that it's an indirect democracy. Okay? All right, our next form of government is a monarchy. And there is Queen Elizabeth. What is a monarchy? A monarchy is a form of government in which a king or queen rules. It's usually hereditary. So the oldest born of Queen Elizabeth will take over when she either leaves the throne or passes away. So Charles, her son. Although there are a lot of people who would like William, his son, to take over. He's kind of cute. So an example of a country that has a monarchy is England, the UK. All right, an aristocracy. An aristocracy is a government that is ruled by a small nobility, a small wealthy group of people. I've given you here, look at this lovely family. This is the ruling family of Denmark. They are extremely wealthy and they run the country. So you can write down, after you write your definition, just underneath it, write example, EX, ... Denmark. Look at that gown. Isn't that sweet? Gold. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's an aristocracy. All right, my daughter's next favorite government. Dictatorship, otherwise known as a totalitarian government. What is that? A dictatorship is a government where the ruler has absolute or look up here, total control over all of the citizens. You cannot oppose the leader. There's no personal opinions allowed. You are not free to criticize the leader, or you will be thrown in jail. You might be tortured. You might be killed. So a dictatorship. I've given you, for an example, Kim Jong-un, who is the dictator of North Korea. He has total control over everybody in North Korea. I think my daughter would make a good dictator of some small country somewhere someday. I don't know. I'll be so proud, right? Moving on. All right, an oligarchy. Now, a lot of you probably haven't heard this term before, so this is a new one for you. An oligarchy is when there's a small group of people who have control who might not be related. A good example of this is Russia. Yeah, they have Putin as their leader, but these wealthy businessmen standing behind him, they call the shots. They tell Putin what they want, and he gets it done. Okay, so these, when they talk about the Russian oligarchs, this is who they're talking about. All those wealthy, incredibly wealthy businessmen in Russia who help Putin make decisions. That's an oligarchy. Yay, you learned something new. Maybe. Okay, what's our next form of government? A theocracy. Some of you probably have never heard of that either. But a theocracy is a form of government where a religious leader rules. And they usually use religious law as the basis for the law for the country and to settle disputes. So the example I've given you is the Ayatollah of Iran. This word Ayatollah simply means he is the religious leader. It's a title. Ali Khomeini is his name. So he is the leader of Iran, and he uses very strict Islamic law, Sharia law, to run Iran and to settle disputes. So you can write that down as your example. Okay. So those are the 6 basic types of government. And it is kind of important to understand that you can have more than one type. Okay, you might have a dictatorship that's an oligarchy. Russia has that. Okay, the leader, Putin, the ruler, he has absolute power, but yet there is this oligarchy. There's this small group of wealthy businessmen that tell him what they want, and he gets it done. So a monarchy. A monarchy could also be an aristocracy because your king or queen and their whole family might be incredibly wealthy. And so you have this wealthy class that is ruling. So keep that in mind. Now, down on the bottom of your page, it says anarchy. That is not a type of government. In fact, it is the very opposite. Anarchy is a state. It's when there is no government at all. This is the symbol that anarchists use. There are anarchists floating around individually here and there. There is no country in the entire world that is under anarchy, that does not have a government. Okay? Currently, there is none. So sometimes you see this symbol painted, graffitied on walls, and you could say, someone who supports having no government. I just don't know how safe that would be. because I think you really do need government to maintain order and stability. But that's just me. Nobody cares what I think. All right, we have looked at all of the different types of government, and hopefully you review those. You can, go back through the presentation whenever you need to. And I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you again soon. Have a great one.